All right, so we're going to head into part 2, which is just continuing practicing different ways of proving or verifying trig identities. All right, so in the previous problem, I picked the right-hand side because of the addition and all that good stuff. So you could pick the right-hand side on this one, and that'll work for you. But I'm going to show you I can also pick the left-hand side. So in this case, I'm going to choose to pick the left-hand side. And what I'm going to do is anytime you have addition in the numerator, we can separate them. So we can't separate if it's in the denominator, but if it is in the numerator, we can. So when I separate them, then that means that each expression has to be put over that denominator. And so the hope is that when I'm done, this left-hand side is going to look like that right-hand side. And so hopefully you'll see here we've got sine and sine cancel, and that leaves me with 7 over cosine, or I'm going to say 7 times 1 over cosine of theta just to make it look better. And then over here the cosines cancel, and I've got 5 over sine of theta, or I'm going to call it 5 times 1 over the sine of theta. Okay, so then let's remember the reciprocal of cosine of theta is the secant of theta. So that means over here we can substitute 1 over cosine theta with secant of theta. And then the reciprocal of sine of theta is cosecant of theta. So that means wherever I see 1 over sine of theta, I can replace that with cosecant of theta. And then you'll notice my left-hand side now looks like what my right-hand side looked like. So we picked a side, we simplified it, and we got it to look like the other side. So we can now say that that is an identity. Okay? So taking a look at C, I'm going to play with the right-hand side. And so again, we're treating this just like algebra. So yesterday, or in the 7-1 section, we talked about an algebraic identity that says if we have a squared minus b squared, that's equal to a plus b times a minus b. Actually, I'm going to take that back. You can do that, but I don't think that's going to be our best method here. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to go with putting this in terms of sines and cosines. Okay, so when I do that, I just started thinking a few steps ahead and was realizing I wasn't headed in the right direction. And so I'm going to stop, make a left-hand turn, and start all over again, or I guess make a U-turn, right? So instead, I'm going to put these in terms of sines and cosines. So hopefully remember again up here, secant of theta is 1 over cosine of theta. So this is 1 over cosine squared of x. And then tangent of x is equal to the sine of x over the cosine of x. So it's a good idea to memorize these. So this is minus sine squared of x over cosine squared of x, because that was tangent squared instead of just tangent. So then the beautiful thing is I have the denominators the same. So that means that I have 1 minus sine squared of x over cosine squared of x. And so my denominator stays the same. And then in this numerator, we want to go back. Anytime I see a 1 and a square function, I want to go back into that Pythagorean identity. So I'm going to say we've got sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x equal to 1. And I want to substitute for this because right now my functions are different, but if I can get them to be the same, then I can start canceling some things. So here I've got negative sine squared of theta, so I'm going to subtract sine squared of x from both sides. And I know I just said theta instead of x, but recognize I just mean that variable for the angle. So this means that cosine squared of x is equal to 1 minus sine squared of x. And so again, hopefully you can see that this numerator looks like this right-hand side, so I can replace it with cosine squared of x. So this is going to be cosine squared of x over cosine squared of x. Okay. And then notice they cancel each other out and we just get 1. Now, that doesn't look like my left-hand side, but going back to that Pythagorean identity, we said sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x is equal to 1. So wherever I see 1, I can replace it with sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x. And now you can see that they match. So I picked a side, I simplified the side, and then I got both sides to be equal to each other. All right, so moving on to the next one, I'd love to say pause it and try it yourself, but it's not one that we've seen before, and so I'm not going to ask you to do that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these to have a common denominator. And so this is telling me that one of my, I'm going to pick this left-hand side, by the way, one of my fractions on the left needs the factor of the sine of y minus 1. And the other denominator needs a factor of the sine of y plus 1. And then a nice thing happens when we multiply these out, but we'll worry about that in just a minute. So right now I want to get sine of y minus 1 on this left-hand side. So I'm going to multiply it by the sine of y plus 1 over the sine of y plus 1 to get that common denominator. And then we have minus this one. Oops, this is a minus, sorry about that. So this is sine of y plus 1, and so this one needs a sine of y minus 1 for us to get that least common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this by sine of y minus 1 over sine of y minus 1. And then again, I'm trying to get that to be equal to this right here, okay? So when I do that, my numerator here is the sine of y plus 1. And then my denominator is the LCD. And then over here, my numerator is sine of y minus 1. And my denominator is the LCD. Okay. And so then when we combine them, we're going to subtract the numerators. And then we are going to leave the denominators the same. Notice it's getting a little crooked, sorry about that. Okay. So again, this is what I'm trying to get towards, right? Sometimes I got to blow it up to bring it back smaller. Okay. So in this numerator, to simplify it, I have to put little invisible ones in front and see what happens when I distribute those ones. So if I distribute 1 to the first one, I've got sine of y plus 1. But notice we're distributing a negative 1 to the second one, so that's going to be negative sine of y and positive 1. And then in my denominator, I want to go ahead and FOIL this out. So I'm going to do it using the box method. Give myself plenty of room. So I've got sine of y plus 1, and I have sine of y minus 1. And again, it doesn't matter who you put on what side. So when I do the box method, sine of y times the sine of y is the sine squared of y. Sine of y times positive 1 is positive 1 sine of y. Negative 1 times sine of y is negative 1 sine of y. And negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1. So when I go to bring that over here, that means that I have a sine squared of y. And then you'll notice when I look at my two middle terms, they are like terms. They both have sine of y, but one's positive and one's negative, so they actually cancel each other out. So I'm left with sine squared of y minus 1. So again, my eye on the prize. If I can get this to have some sort of 1 over cosine squared in it, then I'm headed in the right direction. Okay? So in my numerator, you'll see that positive sine of y and negative sine of y cancel, and I get 1 plus 1 makes 2. And that's good news because I have a 2 on the right-hand side. So I was worried about getting that. Then in my denominator, I've got something squared and I have a 1. So that makes me think of the Pythagorean identity. So I'm going to talk about sine squared of y plus cosine squared of y equal to 1. So this is saying that I want sine squared of y to be positive and I want 1 to be negative. So that means I want sine squared of theta to stay on its side. So I'm going to move the cosine squared of y. No, I keep saying theta. My apologies on that. And then I've got this 1 that I want to move over. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. So when I do that, the cosine squareds cancel and these 1's cancel. So I have sine squared of y minus 1 is equal to, and I have negative cosine squared of y over here. Okay, so where I see sine squared of y minus 1, this is what I was trying to get to, I can replace it with negative cosine squared of y. So notice 2 divided by this negative is negative 2, and I can call that 1 over cosine squared of y. And then remember we said secant of theta is the reciprocal of cosine of theta. So that means that 1 over cosine squared of y is the same as secant squared of y. And so now that I've done that, I got my the left-hand side to match the right-hand side. And so I have shown that it's an identity.